As I was working on this block for our Just Takes Two quilt and doing the Redwork, I realized that a lot of the designs have fairly sharp points on them, and I treat those a little bit differently than most people do, so I thought I would take a minute and share with you the way that I do it. Now, in case you're wondering, I'm using a number 8 John James embroidery needle, and I've got 2 strands of floss here. I marked my designs this time with one of the new Frixion Iron Away pens. Most times I use a red Pigma pen in the .005. I think that gives you a really nice fine line and your stitching covers it up. Now, all of the designs that I've done, I'm working with an outline or a stem stitch, and my stitches are pretty much about 1/8 of an inch apart. I try to take fairly small stitches because that gives you a nice definition to your line. One thing I want to mention is when I'm working along with the stem stitch, I try to keep my thread on the outside of the arc. The way that it wraps as you're making your stitch, it'll keep your line of stitching from rolling in on your design and distorting it. So I'm just going to take some stitches along here and get us up to the point on the top here. And this is not one of the sharpest points, but it is one that will give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I didn't think of this until, I got to like the last design that I had to embroider. So we're working with what we got, you guys. As you're going along, kind of gauge the length of your stitches so that when you get to the top, you're going to take one final stitch. It's going to go right in that point. You're going to come up. And then as you would turn to come down the other side, instead of just continuing your stem stitch, insert for your first stitch there, and then I want you to come right back up in that tip. And we're going to anchor that point to make it nice and sharp. And you do that just about the same way as if you were making a lazy daisy stitch. You're going to take your needle and you're going to go all the way back down and you're going to anchor that tip. And then to continue your line of stitching down the other side, I want you to bring your needle up right in the hole at the end of that very first stitch coming down the second side. And what that does is it gives you a little less bulk in your threads up here at the top at this tip, and it's going to give you a more defined point. Then all you do once you've secured that is you just start again with your outline stitch going down that second side. There again we've got another arc, so I'm keeping my thread up to the top, and you're just back on your way stitching.